Hi friends, I want to talk to you today about depth and spaciousness and what I call the fishbowl effect. I think sometimes we can get so focused on the problems that are right in front of us that it's almost like a pane of glass we can't see through. And this is what I call the fishbowl effect. And everybody is susceptible to this. I am, you go to work and there's an issue going on at work and it becomes this fishbowl that traps you where this is the only and the most important thing in the world of this problem, and you feel your breath get shallow and your heart rate go up and your blood pressure rise and like the world is ending because this thing. And it's very easy trap to fall into this fishbowl effect where it's like you are surrounded by this problem and all you can see is an inch in front of your face. This is what I call the fishbowl. And what we want to practice is being able to look through that pane of glass to what else is going on. Sometimes people call this getting perspective, but I think sometimes there's this idea that getting perspective means that your problems are not as big or not as important or don't really count. And I don't think that that is always accurate, because the things you're dealing with in your life are the things you're dealing with in your life. And so these things matter and they're important, but if they become like an opaque fishbowl where all we see is this inch in front of us and we can't see what else is going on, I think it compounds a problem. And so I'm not trying to come to you and say that your problems don't matter or they're not big or they don't count in the grand scheme of things, because this is your reality and your problems matter. You are a part of the universe, which means the things that you're dealing with are matter, right? Your bills, your medical issues, your family things are aspects of the functioning of the universe. They don't exist apart from the universe, and sometimes people, I think, can take that to mean that they don't count, and that's not what I'm trying to say. But what I'm trying to say is that sometimes we can get stuck in this inch in front of our face vision. And I think that it is helpful to look through the fishbowl of our problems to the rest of the world, to understand that we are part of this greater dance of the universe. And this is what I mean by spaciousness. We can have this spacious approach, which gives us a little bit more time, a little bit more emotional energy to deal with the things in front of us, because we understand that they are not the only things going on. They're still real, they still matter. When my cat is sick, it really matters to me. All the other things going on in the world do not negate the fact that my cat is sick and I'm worried about him. As an example, he's fine. Crowley's fine. But this is what I'm talking about. There's a difference between being trapped so that the only thing we see is our problems or whatever else we're dealing with us, and seeing through the fishbowl of our kind of like self-referential world and having this sense of spaciousness, because I find that it helps when I have this sense of spaciousness, when I see my life, the way that I exist, the things that I'm dealing with in the context of the greater world. It's really helpful. And so this is really just kind of a short video. I was honestly talking about someone that was dealing with some kind of like pathological issues, and how in my work, and how all they saw was this kind of like they were trapped in this fishbowl, right? They could not take the perspective of other people into account. Other people's perspectives do not exist for them. And I was really struck by how lonely and how sad and how painful that existence is. And then I was thinking that we all do this to a greater or lesser extent. We can all get trapped in the fishbowl of our minds or of our world, where we don't look through the fishbowl and our entire world becomes this shrunken thing. And I think we do this most often with negative situations and emotions, where all we can see is our pain, all we can see is our fear or our frustration. I think we do this with positive things as well. We don't tend to attach suffering to that. If I'm so in love that all I can see is my partner, especially in the Western world, we romanticize that as like, this is great and we should all have that. And love is awesome. I'm not saying that, but I think anytime we get stuck in the fishbowl where all we see is an inch in front of our face, and we don't have this kind of spacious mindset, our worldview, our appreciation, our ability to choose gets truncated. And so I want I want to stress that this is maybe not the healthiest way to view the world, because we're not the center of the universe. What we're dealing with is not the only thing that's happening, even as it is really important. And practice is one of the ways where we can learn to look through the glass of the fishbowl instead of always just looking this inch in front of our face. Practice doesn't necessarily make all your problems go away. Practice doesn't necessarily make all your negative emotions never happen again. Sometimes practice doesn't even make your negative emotions less. If your partner died, if you lost your job, if you're scared about what's going on in the world, practice is helpful, but not in a spiritual bypass sort of way where you just don't have bad feelings anymore. But I think it helps us have greater spaciousness, look through the fishbowl, and have more freedom to choose, more freedom to relate to our problems and our lives in different ways. And this is what I call not being caught in the fishbowl and having spaciousness. And so when you're dealing with something that's hard, take some time to reset, to resettle, to remember that the sun has still risen, the wind is still blowing, there are still puppies and kittens and children in the world that are so cute your heart melts. All the things that are going on are still going on, both good and bad, and we have this tendency to get trapped into this 1-inch vision, this stuck in the fishbowl. And practice can help us look through the fishbowl and have a little bit more sense of spaciousness as we deal with the things that are in front of us. So these are some thoughts I had about what I call depth and spaciousness in how we relate to our life, and I thought I would share them, and maybe they will be helpful for you. Thank you.